Okay, y'all know what it is. Co-Starred Media, glad to bring you the best in YouTube entertainment. And we're going to get it started with the explosive, the one and only JJ Dynamite Show. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, so my last episode of the JJ Dynamite Show was about my 10 best gangster movies. One of the things that was brought to my attention that I put some Blaxploitation movies on there. But I'm going to ask you, why Blaxploitation? I never understood that. I remember I was locked up and everybody, the youngsters, not everybody, but the youngsters would come talk to me about, oh, I'm not with that Blaxploitation movie stuff. And I was like, what the hell is a Blaxploitation movie? And they get to saying the Mac, Shaft, etc., etc. And I used to always have to tell the young guys, you know, the movies back then, if them were Blaxploitation, what do you call Colors, Menace to Society, and every movie after that came out with black gangs in it? Is that Blaxploitation? They was like, oh no, that's different. They didn't use stereotypes. Stereotypes? I said, man, you better look at Colors. You better look at New Jack City. You know, all these movies. I said the difference between then and now is that the movies back then was always against the man. They was always fighting against the oppressors. And you don't take my word for it, even in exclusion of the Mac. You had the Mac. And that movie, you know, that glorified pimping, and you know, it was an alright movie, you know what I mean? That, I guess you could throw that as a Blaxploitation movie, but I disagree, because you're gonna have movies about pimps too. What about Boardwalk Empire? And every other mafia movie you've watched, there's gonna be some prostitution in it somewhere. All you gotta do is look and you'll see it. But anyway, let's take a movie like Shaft with Richard Roundtree. Richard Roundtree in Shaft was basically a freedom fighter. He was a black superhero. Every time, he even went over there to Africa and did his thing. So what about shows like that? What about Shaft? What about my favorite, Bucktown, USA? A great movie. A great movie. That's why it made my list so high on my list. Because it was about fighting the man. And then it went even a step further and showed you what happens when you start acting like the man. You gotta be dealt with. I know my wife always tells me, what's up with the tank? Because I get on her about Sons of Anarchy and them having the Bloods, Crips, Serenos, Norteños, and the black mayor of California in the room while they done killed Clay, who was the real gangster, in the back. But anyway, back to what I'm talking about. Movies like that was against the man. Look at on my list, Youngblood. A matter of fact, I'm going to go through a quick little couple movies real quick. Let's go. And we're going to start it off with y'all favorite Superfly. No, not that Superfly. I'm talking about your favorite heroin dealer. The #1 Blood Priest. The notorious Superfly. But y'all know Superfly was rhyming. He like to do that dope. So you better get out your Superfly soap and let's get the pop. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm being a little lyrical today. I don't know why. But one thing I liked about this movie is all the main ballers always was trying to quit selling dope. Nowadays, they talking about for life. And it wasn't no different for Superfly either. I mean, they're trying to get out way, but they wouldn't let him out. These Italian mobsters, he was making too much money for them. But you know what? Superfly was also a good hands man. He started beating the shit out of these guys. You know what I mean? he started smashing them. Y'all gonna let me out from selling dope? That's how he said it, but you know, that's what he did, and he meant it. Everybody was thinking that this dude was gonna be the dope dealer of the century. But you know what? Nah. That's one thing about all so-called blaxploitations back in the day. Was dope, selling dope, and not moving on and progressing as a people. How can you compare movies of today with back then? I'm sure some of the special effects wasn't up to par. You know, there was a punch or two where they obviously showed he didn't get hit. But I'll tell you what, it was about moving up. But moving up, let's move up to Foxy Brown, the number one 1960s, 1970s heroinist, Pam Grier. And in this movie, she showed what it took to be a heroinist. A lot of y'all women should be really happy with Pam Grier. To me, she was the first lady heroine. You know what I mean? Black, white, Mexican. We wouldn't know from our generation, but the generation before mine, they would arguably agree. You know what I mean? But in this scene right here, she goes into the gay bar. Now, if I'm not politically correct, don't get wrong, but she goes in to get a girl, her homegirl, for her homegirl's dude. So all right, here goes where I'm wrong. The bull dyke knows karate. But what I liked about this type of scene is the action, the choreography was all on point. Y'all knew Pam Grier must have really knew karate. Well, she was a Denver native, so it's possible. Back then, everybody from Denver knew karate and said they did. But anyway, her fight scenes are so realistic, and they're of the time that they can compete with today's. Look at this action, y'all. You know me, JJ Dynamite loves action. It's always good to have good action scenes. And this one, the whole gay bar rope. It's the femmes against hims. And you know what? Nobody wins. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they all women. So, you know, it's a good heads up. But this scene coming up right here when Pam Grier gets dropped. Bam! Bam! There she go into the jukebox. Funny scene that always makes me laugh. Pam Grier also kept a bunch of riders around her, even though she often didn't need it. Like this scene. This is another thing about women's lib. Back then, they made the head villains women. This lady right here is the head villain. So, you know, she did something to Pam Grier. God, I'll let y'all watch it. So Pam Grier, you know, emasculates her man, sends it to him in a jar, and then kills her bodyguards. You know what I mean? Pam Grier wasn't taking no shorts either. The female, I don't know, Pam Grier. She was her own kind, her own type. Bam! Look at this action, y'all. Y'all gotta respect Pam's name. Y'all gotta respect Foxy Brown's name. Beautiful and with the business. And for those that call themselves hoes, she wasn't with that either. Check this scene out. Bam! Eat this lettuce, hoe. My fault, y'all. This movie gets me hyped and I get to talking all crazy, but it's a funny scene. What happens here is she infiltrates a brothel. So she wants to position herself as the bottom girl. She never even turns a trick. You know what I mean? Really, she really just messes up his supply because she beats these women so bad. You know what I mean? They wasn't on her level. Everybody knew Pam Grier has hands. And look, the pimp's like, oh no, he's damaging my property. It don't matter. My point being, nowadays, it's nothing positive in the movies. So I do feel some kind of way when y'all discredit and talk about good films. What happened to the days back in the day when the ending was a good ending? Well, it's not so much happening as much. But Pam Grier, she stepped in and made it happen. Y'all, be sure to step in and hit my cash app, 104 CRSH. With love, co-star media, JJ Dynamite.